Hi, today we're going to be talking about restlessness that gets masked as ambition. So, the art of constantly changing, constantly jumping from one thing to another, right? Without finishing anything, feeling suffocated by the need for consistency, the prolonged consistency that, of course, is required for mastery and growth. That's what we're going to be talking about today. So, yeah, let's get into it. Welcome to the Tribe Clan. This is a space for leaders, for elite performers to work on their critical asset, which is their well-being. I'm your host, Judith Gbadebo. I'm a psychologist and a well-being partner. I work with leaders, high-performing executives to identify and fix their well-being gaps. If you'd like to work with me on a personal level, the details are in the description below. So let's get into this video. This video today is about restlessness. It's about the ambition that it sometimes seems to be, but it's not. And I'm going to clarify. So restlessness that is masked as ambition looks like that constant pursuit for more, right? Constant pursuit for the next thing that seems like you're growing, but really is you just trying to escape boredom. You're not growing. Instead, you're just seeking novelty. You're just pursuing the next shiny object, the next new thing. That's that kind of restlessness. And how do you know if what you're experiencing is actually, I'm trying to grow, I am growing, or I'm just seeking novelty right now, or I'm just restless, or I'm just feeling suffocated by, monotony at this point in my life. If you notice that you have a drive for new challenges, you're always seeking the new project, trying out to start something new. And it's not stemming from a point of growth, prolonged growth. Instead, is you running away from boredom, is you running away from the admin almost of what is required for long-term growth. Then that's restlessness. It seems like ambition, but it's restlessness. So you might be the person who you always have great ideas and you are always actually starting those ideas. Not finishing them, not seeing them to completion, but you start it. You have that excitement, which of course comes in the beginning, right? And you also don't know when to prioritize, this should be a task to actually execute on. Because let's be honest, we all have ideas that pop in, very frequently, right? But you also need to have the discipline to know when to execute on what, when to stay sustained on something you've already started, how long it requires of you to be sustained in it, right? And also to be disciplined enough to know that you don't want to just have a cycle of unfinished endeavors all over the place. This restlessness shows up in different ways. For some people, this is how it shows up. It shows up when you've started a project, right? It could be a job, it could be a new venture, it could be a startup, it could be anything. It could even be a relationship. Just when things get stable, you are ready to let go. Before you start reaping the fruits of anything, before you start reaping, the benefits, whatsoever it is, you decide to let go. You want novelty again. You don't allow yourself to stay strong enough to get to a state of mastery. You don't allow yourself to stay long enough to learn depth in whatever it is you've selected. You don't allow yourself to have that depth, to build depth, because depth comes from time. It comes from pattern recognition. It comes from mastery, right? It comes from trials. It comes from errors. It comes from the heightened state. It comes from the stable point as well. It comes from every element that you've experienced, right, in a journey. But if you're someone who comes in the beginning, get to a point, let go. Come in the beginning, let go. You have a lot of things you've touched on, but you have no depth. You just lack depth in everything. That's restlessness. That's no ambition. And this leads to the next thing, essentially. You have surface level expertise. So surface level expertise is, you know a little about a lot of things. Maybe you've dabbled in different industries, right? But not enough depth to actually say, I'm proficient enough in this to say, I'm a master, or I'm great at this, or this is my thing. You are more prone to short-term projects, project here, project there, for short-term rewards, whatsoever that is. It could be financial, it could be based on awards that you're going to get, whatsoever it is that the rewards are, right? You jump from here to there, lacking depth. So you just have surface level expertise on a lot of things. That's restlessness. That is not ambition. Another way this can show up is when you have the exhaustion of constantly starting something new. Now, when you start something new, there's a phase where you have to prove yourself. You have to be the one carrying the vision, explaining the vision, right? While that is fine, how many things do you really want to start? Struggle to prove yourself, constantly having to pitch and pitch and pitch and pitch without actually giving yourself enough time to rest and settle into something. Because after a while, the people you are pitching to, the people you are trying to prove yourself to, they'll start seeing you as flaky. They'll start telling you different things. Oh, today is in real estate. Tomorrow is in tech. Next tomorrow is in healthcare innovation. What are we talking about, really? That's restlessness. That's not ambition. And that right there is a well-being gap. So what can you do about it? We're not here to just point fingers, please. What can we do about it? Can we do anything about it? Yes, we can do something about it. So what can we possibly do? I want you to try something. The next time you feel maybe suffocated in your job, maybe your venture, whatever it is, starts to is plateaued in your mind, right? Audit that boredom. What is this really? Why is this here? What's really going on? What's really happening here, right? Is it that I feel like I've plateaued my strength here? So maybe the things that I should be doing, I've done them, right? And it's gotten to the end, right, of where my skill set, benefits this venture. So maybe I need to hire people in. Okay, fine. Maybe the next thing I need to do is an upgrade, right? And this upgrade is not detrimental to what I've already started. Okay, whatever the case may be, let me audit it first and see. I hope I'm not making my decisions based on boredom. I hope I'm not making it based on, I've gotten to a new challenge that I'm not particularly curious about. Because not every challenge will come in the shiny way that seems like, I can conquer it. Sometimes it looks like something that doesn't feel surmountable. But when we stay longer, we build depth that only experience can teach. So audit your boredom. Audit that suffocation that you feel. Audit that urge that you feel to quit. Is it coming from ambition or is it coming from restlessness? Another thing you can do is controlled burns. So instead of just taking the entire thing and setting it on fire and letting it go, starting a new venture, repeating the cycle, instead of that, can I review this entire process that I currently have and see where I can innovate? Maybe I need to infuse something exciting into it, right? Maybe there's an element to this project that's already seeming monotonous, that my skill set might not be so beneficial for it, or it might not be so beneficial for me, but there's a way I can look at it, a way I can solve for it. There's a creative element I can impute into it, right? And that would make a difference. So I'm staying here, right? I'm looking at it from a different lens. I'm not trying to let it go and start something new. No. Okay, maybe I started a project and it's gotten to the point where most of the things are admin tasks. Okay, is there an element to this project that I can take on, that maybe I've completed the ones I was doing? I can take on a new element to this project, right? That expands my knowledge, expands my depth. Instead of burning it all, letting it go completely, you look at other elements to it, other things you can learn from. Allow yourself to innovate instead of quitting. Allow yourself to innovate. Allow yourself, because whatever it is that you're doing, there's always a new way to solve something there, right? Allow yourself to innovate. Allow yourself to stick closely. Another thing you also need to do is allow time for this new thing you're excited about. Allow time to process if it is really what you need to be doing. Because sometimes, when these ideas come, they come with major excitement, right? But we need to test it with time. We need to test it with, okay, is it really valuable for me to actually let go of what I'm currently doing for this? And what's going to be the timeline I need to build this? And in that timeline, if I had stayed in what I've already started building, what more progress would I have made here, as opposed to starting something from scratch that is still very uncertain? All these questions, answer them. So you are very sure that it's coming from clarity, coming from actual ambition, actual growth-driven ambition, as opposed to just restlessness. And lastly, it's very important that you diversify yourself, right? So sometimes when we seek this novelty is because, okay, we don't have the excitement in work, for example, and you're letting go of an element that is very beneficial, where what you would have done instead is to have some level of diversification in your life. So some aspect of your life that allows you to dedicate time to interests that you have, right? Curiosities that you have. You did not allow that. You did not allocate time for that. Instead, what you've done now is quit, seek novelty, repeat cycle. But if you are diversified yourself where you know, okay, I'm curious about this, I'm also curious about that. Okay, I keep the primary thing, but then there are some other elements that I'm curious about. Okay, maybe I partner with someone instead of starting it all by myself, right? See how that goes. Or maybe I go to just learn a few information about this thing that I'm curious about to actually see, am I really interested in it, or I'm just simply curious about it? And the reason why I'm talking about this topic called restlessness, typically disguised as ambition, is because when you've tailored your identity to being busy, when you need to pause, when you need to take breaks, when you need to learn, when you need to iterate more intentionally, right? When you need to take that break that allows for you to heal, take breaks that allow for you to innovate, think deep, be still to innovate well. You now have the restlessness to start something new, simply because you are the person who you just identify yourself as, I have to be doing for me to be. I'm a performing being. So being still just feels so out of place for me. Then there's a lot of work that needs to be done there. Okay? Don't beat yourself up. Go through this channel. There's definitely something I've spoken about it, and I'm still going to talk about it. And if you have questions, specific situations that you are experiencing, write in the comment section and I can create a video targeting what you're currently experiencing, okay? And if you want to work with me on a personal level, the link is in the description to apply, okay? That'll be all for the video today. So please, let's stop making major life transitions, major life decisions based on restlessness as opposed to actual growth, actual ambition. That'll be all for the video today. This is the Thrive Clan. Remember, it's a place for leaders to be themselves outside of the pressures of perfection. Bye.